This is Alan Hardwicke reading from Revelation 10 and part of chapter 11 from the book In Search of Biblical Order by Giacchino Michael Cassione, chapter 10. And I saw another strong angel come down out of heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head. And his face was like the sun, and his feet were like pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea, but his left foot on the earth. And he cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roars. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice out of heaven saying to me, Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and do not write them. And the angel who I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created heaven, and what are therein, and the earth, and what are therein, and the sea, and what are therein, that there be time no longer, but in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, whenever he is about to trumpet, and the mystery of God is finished, as he had preached to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard out of heaven spoke to me again, and said, Go take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel standing on the sea and upon the earth. And I went to the angel, saying to him, Give me the little book. And he said to me, Take and eat it, and it shall make your belly bitter, but it shall be sweet like honey in your mouth. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it, and it was in my mouth sweet like honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said to me, You must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. And there was given to me a measuring rod like a staff, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God and the altar, and them that worship therein. And leave out the court which is outside the temple, and do not measure it, for it is given to the Gentiles, and the holy city they shall tread under foot 42 months. And I will give authority to my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth and devours their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must thus be killed. These have authority to shut heaven, in order that rain may not fall in the days of their prophecy, and have authority over the waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth in every plague as often as they will. And whenever they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Gomorrah, and where also our Lord was crucified. And they from the peoples and tribes and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3.5 days, and shall not permit their dead bodies to be put into a grave. And those who dwell on the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these 2 prophets tormented those who dwell on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell on those who saw them. And they heard a great voice out of heaven saying to them, Come up here. And they ascended up to heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And at the same hour there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake 7,000 men were slain, and the remnant were terrified, and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe is past. Behold, the third woe comes quickly.